And welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Purdy. This is Purdy Plays. As a reminder, make sure you like and subscribe if you're interested in future content. That is where you're going to be able to get all those notifications. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing, and if you hate my face, you can always change back and unsubscribe. So as you see, we are in the mobile office today. Today I wanted to do a little bit different topic than usual. Normally I talk about my football, my chess, things like that, but today we are going to go into the stock market and we're going to check out my small baby portfolio that I've been working on for just a couple months. I only have about $2,000 in the account. Would have had $3,000 had it not gone down about 50%, but that's for later on in the video. Check this out. Let's get into it. Head account. This is the account that I started just a few months ago. I think the first day was February 23rd. As you can see right now, I have about $2,051 in the account. If we go to the all-time tab, it's not so pretty. I'm down about 31%, which is not good. But the market has been down. I think most people have been down, and I have a small amount of money that I'm working with here, so it's not really all that unreasonable to see. So, as you can see, it isn't really working out all that well so far. However, we do have a strategy in place which I think is very important, and I want to break that down for you guys right now. This isn't saying that this is the best strategy in the world, this is how you guys do it. That's not what this channel is supposed to be. This is more about me just telling you guys what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and you guys kind of coming along for the ride and either making fun of me, telling me I'm stupid, telling me I'm smart. Let me know down in the comment section, because this is just meant to be kind of like a vlog of my personal journey with Robinhood and the stock market, and just kind of putting out there for the public to let everybody know how it goes. So we're going to break down my strategy next. Here it is. So one of my strategies when it comes to investing is diversification. You hear about diversification quite a lot, and it's because it's very important. They say that with younger people, diversification isn't quite as important because you're a little bit more risk adverse, which means that you can go through more risk without being hurt quite as bad as somebody who doesn't have as much time to make up those lost investments. So with diversification, for me, I've invested in a few different kind of stocks. My main driver for my portfolio are my ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. I have VOO and VTI, which you can see right here. Let's just go to my equity. And you can see I have about 1.8 shares of VTI and almost 1 share of VOO. Let's go into VTI and check out what that is. So the VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. It's currently at $190.36 per share. And what this does is it incorporates basically the entire US stock market, excluding foreign countries such as Chinese stocks. So if we go down here, you can see it makes up about 13% of my portfolio. My goal is for it to be about 20 to 25% of my portfolio, so I still have quite a bit of buying to do here. You can see I have a roundup rewards coming with Robinhood. But let's check out their top 10 holdings. So you can see they're heavily in the technology sector with healthcare, finance, consumer, industrial, communications, almost every sector across the board. But technology is certainly its number one, with healthcare and finance is coming 2 and 3. In the top 10 holdings, Apple and Microsoft are 5.5% and 5% of the holdings respectively, so it's almost 10% in Apple and Microsoft. You can see it's very, very stock heavy, but that's just because that's what's been growing lately. Those are the hot sectors, well, maybe not really lately, but over the past few years. You can see it has a dividend a 30-day yield of 1.39, a 23.155 PE ratio, and an expense ratio of 0.03. It's very important for me to get into a low expense ratio ETF because they're just eating away at your profits at the end of the day. If they're taking 1% and you're making 9% on the market, well, you are still up 8%. I'll take that all day, every day. However, if you can be up 9% without that 1% going away, then why would you ever pay that? So you have to pay an expense ratio for an ETF because you have somebody who's actively managing this portfolio for you. All of these holdings that are down in here are managed by the people who work for Vanguard, who manage this fund. So they add and they take away stocks from this portfolio for you to make you the most money as possible, instead of going and picking a whole bunch of different stocks and trying to figure out which one is going to do well, which one's not going to do well, dividends, all that kind of stuff, PE ratios. They do it all for you, but you have to pay them a fee to do the work, which makes sense. So VTI, Vanguard in general, is really, really reputable. I enjoy these ETFs. I think that they are quite valuable, and they have very low expense ratios. So it's something that you definitely want to keep in mind when you're looking through ETFs if you want to get invested in them. So ETFs are the majority of my portfolio. VTI, which I just went over, and VOO as well, which just focuses on the S&P 500. Almost the same exact thing as the VTI, like I said, but this VOO is for the S&P 500 only, which are the top 500 companies on the stock market in America. So if you look at the rest of my portfolio, like I said, I am not a stock trading wizard. I only started a couple months ago, but I have a few companies that I know that I like. I've looked at a few of their financials and their fundamentals, and I like the companies, so I've purchased them. Some of the main top holdings that I have here is Verizon. I have 3.3 shares of Verizon right now. Everything in my portfolio is basically down since I started in February, and the market has not been kind to almost any sector besides maybe the energy sector since then. So this is not a video to show you all of my juicy gains. This is just a video to show you what I'm holding and why I'm holding it. So like I said, I have Verizon. I am a Verizon customer. I have always used Verizon. I love Verizon. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. They are a profitable company. I think you can see they have some profitable earnings here the past few quarters, and they also have a 5% dividend, which is pretty nice, almost 5%. So there's that. I also have a few other companies here. I'm not going to go through every company and why, because who the hell cares, but I just want to show you my strategy. So I have Bank of America, Stag for my real estate. HYMC is a meme stock that I was kind of getting through with GameStop and all that. But what I'm actually doing with HYMC can be instructional. So let's just look at HYMC really quickly. What I'm doing with HYMC is I'm selling covered calls. So you can see that I own 100 shares of HYMC actually at an average cost of $2.02, which is almost exactly a 50% cut in the stock price. So I'm not doing so hot as far as the actual stock is involved. The reason why I bought those 100 shares was because of the news that came out with GameStop AMC, getting a partial ownership in the company. So there was a little bit of a catalyst there. I think they went out at $1.19, which were what the bonds or the agreement was $1.19 something, whatever. Let me know in the comment section because you're probably smarter than I am. What I do is I sell covered calls on it, so we can actually go into my history and you can see that I've been selling these covered calls on HYMC since the very beginning. Most of these are just put credit spreads that didn't go through. So let's look at one. So there's a credit spread that didn't go through. So on April 4th, you see I bought $185 worth, so that's almost 100 shares right there. And you can see I sold a covered call for $10 on the 4th. It expired, and I sold another one on the 11th for $15, so that's $25 collected so far. I sold another one for $6. So what did I say? 10, 15 plus 6, so we're at 31. And there's another one for 13, so that's 44. And I have another one that I sold right there for 10, so that's $54. So I've been selling these covered calls, and I've made $54 doing it by just owning the shares. Oh wait, so I actually have another one, 54 plus the 15. So I actually have $69 worth of premium that I've collected from owning these shares. Why that's important is because when you look at HYMC and my average cost, you can actually subtract that $69 or 69 cents if you're using an options contract and subtract it from my average cost. So instead of my average cost being $202, $2.02. You can subtract the 69 cents from that, which, if I am correct, is I can't do the math right now. $1.33, something like that, which is my new break even. So you can see, as I continue to sell these covered calls on HYMC, my break even will go farther and farther and farther down, which will hopefully eventually make me profitable. So that's called a covered call. That's one of my main strategies that I use. However, in order to sell a covered call, it's very important. You have to remember, you have to have enough buying power to sell, or to sell 100 shares, to buy 100 shares of this company. So as much as I'd love to sell a covered call on Bank of America is a $55 or a $54 stock right now, 45, something like that. I don't have $4,000 to start selling covered calls. But what I can do is sell covered calls on small companies like HYMC that I don't think are going to go out of business. I don't think they're great companies, but they're good enough companies where I can collect passive income and build up my portfolio so that eventually I can go ahead into blue chip stocks and start selling covered calls there. So that's one of my strategies. Let's move on to the next strategy. All right, and so the last strategy that I wanted to talk to you folks about, ones that I employ at least, is called a LEAPS strategy. A long-term equity anticipation security. It's a weird acronym. I don't know why anticipation gets an A and a P on there, but whatever. That's what it's called. It's called a LEAPS strategy. What you do with a LEAPS strategy is it's just like buying a call like the degenerates on Wall Street bets do for their GameStop shits every 1 week. It's the exact same thing. But with a LEAPS call is you are picking a strike price that is deep in the money with a delta preferably 0.7 or higher. And you're going to be, that call option is going to be at least 1 year in expiration, 1 year out. So you have plenty of time to make up ground on the stock price over the course of the year. This is not a strategy where you're waking up at market open to check on how your LEAPS are doing. This is something that you can buy it, put your feet up, go to the beach, enjoy the 4th of July, and not worry about that kind of stuff. But they are also they have a high chance of success with it being so deep in the money. The only caveat that I will say about a LEAPS option is that they tend to be expensive because you're paying for a lot of time. And they're also already deep in the money, which gives them a lot of intrinsic value. So you're not paying quite as much for the extrinsic value of the option, you're paying a lot for the intrinsic value of the option. So let's check out one of these LEAPS that I keep saying. So I have 2 different LEAPS that are my main LEAPS here. One of them is Ford and one of them is AT&T. Let's go into AT&T because my Ford one is just doing awful. I'll show it to you in a second anyways. So here's my AT&T LEAP. So you can see what I did here is I have one contract. I paid $4.63 per contract. Now, per stock thing, whatever. But an options contract holds 100 shares of it inside of it. So that 465 or 463 is times 100, which is why I paid $463 if you look at the market value. So if you look at the actual option contract, what it is it's the $17 call for AT&T that expires on June 16th, 2023. So I have almost an entire year for this options price to hit my break-even price, which is $21.65. That's the $17 strike price plus my $4.65 that I paid for the option contract. So as long as AT&T can get to $21.65 before June 16th of next year, your boy's going to be making some money. As you can see here, currently the delta on this AT&T LEAPS is 95. That is a really, really high delta. You don't have to go that high for your delta. You can probably just switch it back. Anywhere between like 75, anything over 70 is really fine if you ask me. However, I have no idea what I'm talking about. These are just a couple things that I'm doing. The last thing that I want to show you with leaps and why leaps are so cool and why I love them so much is because you can do what's called the poor man's covered call, the PMCC. So just like I was talking to you about the covered calls with HYMC, where you're required to buy 100 shares in order to use those shares as collateral for your covered calls. The good thing about poor man's covered calls is that I just spent $465 buying a contract on AT&T at the $17 strike call. Usually if I had bought 100 shares at $17, it would have cost me $1,700 to do it. However, my options contracts controls 100 shares of AT&T at the low price of $465. What the poor man's covered call does is it allows you to use that options contract, which represents 100 shares, and sell covered calls against your options contract. So for this one, the AT&T, I can take this options contract, which represents 100 shares, and then start making money off of that, just like I was with my HYMC, which brings my overall cost down. So if you look at my history here, let's see. You can see, where can I see all my covered calls that I sent? I can't quite find it. I know it's in here somewhere there. Oh yeah, here it is. Sorry about that, folks. So if you look at this, you can see I bought my leaps on 6/16 and I sold a covered call on the same day for $12. And then I actually rolled it again just a few days ago for another $19. So I've only had this options contract for about a month and I've already made $27 back. I'm sorry, $31. Where's my math going? I have $31 in my pocket from that. So instead of $465 being my break even, it'd be more like $434. And that'll keep happening every month. I plan to sell I usually sell weekly contracts on these. So eventually it'll just lower my break even enough to where even if I do get hurt on these, I'd have to be hurt by like 50% in order to really actually lose money on these options contracts. Okay guys, I've talked enough. Thank you so much for looking at the video. I am going to make a few videos like these, probably just updating certain plays that I make in the market, portfolio updates, things like that. If you're interested, please let me know in the comments. I have a very small channel. I hardly have any subscribers, so if you guys could help me out, I'd really appreciate that, and it would make all the work that I did in editing this video and putting it all together really worth it, because I have no idea what I'm doing in editing. And I'm just really doing this for fun. So thank you so much guys for checking it out. I'm gonna update this video in a little bit and I'll bring some more videos to the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment, let me know how stupid or smart you think I am, and I'll see you next time. Bye.